I just returned from a week in Turkey, in Istanbul and in Gaziantep, and I was meeting with members of the Syrian civil society. This was a really important trip for me, both because I was able to offer some assistance to these organizations, but also to bring home the reality of the conflict. Syria is a country I visited many times in happier times, in Aleppo and Damascus in the Old City, and to hear the stories of these people that are so passionately engaged in trying to protect Syrian citizens today, the tragedies that they're facing, the destruction of the cities that I have visited in the past, really brought home to me the necessity for the United States and for us as individuals to provide whatever support we can, not only to help alleviate problems right now that Syrians are facing, but also to prepare for the period when peace comes and they need to reconstruct the country. It's a beautiful country, but it's really mired in very serious difficulties and is going to need some significant work in the future. And civil society is what's going to hold that place together. The donor roundtable that I facilitated was really a significant event because it gave the donors a chance to understand directly from the Syrian civil society organizations what their reality is really like. In other words, when they have to make deals with militias in order to move their goods from one area to another, what does that mean for the donors and their assistance programs for the civil society organizations? At the same time, trouble with staffing. How do these organizations maintain and recruit staff when their staff are under threat because of working with the civil society organizations? These are complicated questions the donors really needed to understand in order to program effectively. But what really struck me personally, what I took away from this session, were two significant activities. The first thing was when, after the event, some of the Syrian civil society organizations came up to me and said, we would like to continue as an ad hoc committee coordinating among ourselves in the future to help bring efficiencies to our work. And this really struck me because these are organizations that come from very different backgrounds, and in some cases, backgrounds that are in conflict, in direct conflict with one another. And yet they, on their own, were desiring to reach out and work together. This really reinforced to me the importance that civil society plays in bringing peace to Syria in the future, because these are the organizations that are going to knit the country together. The second issue that really struck me was the sense that civil society is really present in Syria now. You have to remember, this is a place that didn't have an active civil society for a very long time. The former regime did not tolerate it, if not promote it. And yet here are organizations that were pushing aggressively, not for assistance with money or with computers or things like that, but with an advocacy role. That's the primary function of civil society, and that's what they wanted the most in terms of assistance. They want to know how to advocate on behalf of human rights, on behalf of women in danger, on behalf of youth, on behalf of minority populations. And that says to me that civil society is taking root in Syria in a way that it has not in the past. And that is a glorious thing. Our role to support that movement, that development of a real civil society, is to continue giving them the support in terms of organizational development. These groups are full of enthusiasm. They have all the commitment, all the passion that they need, but they don't have the experience of how to run organizations, and in such a difficult environment. We have that ability, we have that knowledge, we have that understanding, and this is what we can offer them so that they can focus on their mission, which is advocating on behalf of the Syrian people.